I gave my brother the key to our parents' house after they gave him mine without asking. My brother Daniel is basically a professional mooch. He's 34 years old and has been bouncing around the world for the past decade doing whatever he wants. His whole system is genius if you're a complete scumbag. He works just long enough to save up money for a trip, then quits his job and disappears to some random country for months. Thailand, Peru, Vietnam, wherever sounds fun that week. The problem is he doesn't always earn his travel money honestly. He borrowed $3,000 from our grandparents saying his car needed urgent repairs. Then he showed up on Instagram 2 weeks later drinking cocktails on a beach in Peru. Our grandparents are in their 80s living on Social Security. But that's just the warm-up. He took some rare books from our uncle's collection and sold them for several $1,000s. His excuse was that our uncle had already read them and they were just sitting there collecting dust. Like that makes it okay to steal. My parents never did anything about any of this. They'd make excuses for him, saying he was finding himself or going through a phase that's lasted 12 years apparently. But finally they had enough when he stole from them. Even then, all they did was ban him from coming over when they weren't home. That's it. No police report, no demanding he pay them back, just don't visit alone. So last week, Daniel shows up back in town after his latest adventure. He's leaving again in a couple weeks and gave up his apartment early to save money. He started asking everyone if he could crash with them until his flight on the 17th. When he called me, I said absolutely not. I travel for work constantly and live out of a suitcase. The last thing I need is Daniel having free access to my place. I can totally see him renting out my house on Airbnb while I'm gone and me coming home to strangers living there with a fake lease. My parents called me the next day trying to convince me to let him stay. I said no again, even clearer this time. 2 days later, I'm coming home from the airport and Daniel is standing on my porch trying to unlock my front door. I changed my locks months ago because my parents used their emergency key to let themselves in without calling first, so his key didn't work. I walked up and asked what he was doing. He turned around holding up a key and said Mom and Dad gave it to him because I was being difficult. They told him since I'm barely ever home anyway, I wouldn't mind him staying there. I stood there stunned while he explained how they thought I was being selfish. I called my parents right there on speakerphone. They actually admitted it. They said since I travel so much and don't have valuables in my house, what's the big deal if Daniel crashes there? That's when I remembered something. I had a key to their house. They gave it to me years ago so I could water their plants and grab their mail when they go on vacation. They go away like 3 times a year and trust me completely with their house. I opened my door just enough to reach inside and grab their key from my key rack. Then I handed it to Daniel through the crack. I told him he couldn't stay at my place, but since Mom and Dad were being so helpful with housing arrangements, I figured they wouldn't mind if he stayed with them instead. Daniel looked confused, but took the key and left. I locked my door and went inside. About 2 hours later, my phone started blowing up. My parents had gone out to dinner, and when they came home, Daniel had already made himself comfortable in their guest room. His stuff was everywhere, he'd raided their fridge, and he was lounging on their couch watching their TV. They were absolutely furious. My mom called screaming about how I had no right to give him their key. I reminded her that she gave him my key without permission, so what's the difference? She said it's completely different because they banned him from their house. Yeah, exactly. I didn't ban him, you just decided for me that he could stay there. My dad got on the phone and said this was a betrayal of their trust. I almost laughed. They've been calling me nonstop for 3 days. They're telling everyone in the family what I did and trying to make me look like the bad guy. So I started telling everyone the full story about how they gave Daniel my key after I specifically said no. Now here's the best part. My parents are both retired and usually spend their days going out to lunch, meeting friends, running errands together. But they can't leave Daniel alone in their house because he's banned, remember? So now one of them has to stay home at all times to babysit a 34-year-old man. They're taking shifts like he's a toddler who can't be trusted. My mom had to cancel her book club. My dad missed his golf game. They keep calling begging me to take Daniel for just a few days. I told them he can leave on the 17th just like he planned. That's only 2 more weeks. They're stuck with him until his flight.